A recent report just came out that have created furore throughout the world. Several large media publication houses, including the Washington Post and from the Indian side, the Wire, the news agency, widely famous for not taking what the government line is. All of them were involved, and the report that came out have resulted that the governments of several countries used a spyware made by an Israeli company for spying over several large publications, several journalists, several persons with quite who have a public influence, who could influence public, opposition leaders, and that's not only the case in India. Throughout the globe, several people were there whose numbers were out, whose phones have been hacked, their phones have been tapped. Governments were listening to what they're talking, what and how they're talking. In fact, even that. In India, around 1,000 names came out, including Rahul Gandhi, to union ministers too, including the IT minister, who's currently serving as the IT minister of India, and Prashant Kishore, the well-known person. Currently he has been with Congress for helping them in Punjab, and he have put up several good results, including the West Bengal elections that have just concluded, and the BJP lost it all out. And what he predicted earlier, that BJP would not be able to cross even to double digits, and that was the final result even. So even he was hacked, his phone was tapped. Not only him, but a report, one of the numbers among the around 300 numbers that came that were tapped or allegedly like the government of India have using them or listening to them, hacking them. It was among those numbers that was related to Imran Khan, Pakistani Prime Minister. Though whether he used that number or not, or whether he was using that number or not, is still not clear. That if the number is still with him, or whether the government of India was successful in that and for how much time. All these things were not clear, but yet the thing is clear that that number was used by Imran Khan at a certain point of time during that 2018-19, mainly at the time when the elections were going on in Pakistan and the Imran Khan government was just formed. So it might be that India would have used to hack his number. It might be. There's nothing like confirmed yet. Even the Israeli company, that they have called it totally fake, totally illustrations, and they have decided to move for defamation against all of these publications and NGOs, institutions that were involved and that are involved in bringing it out. What they call it a huge success, and what globally it has been believed that the governments have something that they have to hide, but they have lost it to the public. Currently in India, in case of India, it has been noted that around 1,000 numbers were there that were tapped, that were hacked, though it's not clear whether it's done by the government or by someone else or by other agencies, because the company, the Israeli company that actually which is involved or which is allegedly involved, it has told that only governments are clients and no one else. But it's even there that what the report reveals is it might be that few people with their own insight and with their own intents, they might have hacked, and they might have went on for the business purposes, for certain other purposes, to investigate what's other talking about, what the leaders are talking about, how they are talking about, and what they're planning for. If they're going for like an all-out event, like they're going to make it more simplistic, if they are planning to crack down on them, if they're planning some new steps that might hamper their businesses, their models, their ideas. So it might be something in that, yet we have no idea whether it's 100% true, 100% correct, or it's something false. Because the report says there are several big names, not only in India but throughout the globe. Even the list includes several army personnel, and few army heads in certain countries too. Even the report have at one point of time it is being speculated that Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the current president of Sri Lanka, even his number was under surveillance by China. Not only him, but even in Laos, the Prime Minister of Laos, his phone was also under surveillance, and even the Qamar Javed Bajwa, the Pakistani Chief of Army Staff, even he has been under surveillance by no one else, China. So whether it's true or not, what's going on, no one knows. Even if it's true or it's just false or something, like we could not explain yet. We know a few things, but at the same time we cannot trust them fully, because several times such reports have came out in public, and at the end of the day what we got to know is they were made up of some hoax, or they were just diluted, or they were over concentrated, or several other things were mixed up with them, or it might be that the government isn't involved in that, and all those things were controlled by some entities, some people who are not part of the government, who are not part of anything else, but they wanted to keep an eye over everyone, so that whenever their business interests or anything else gets in trouble, they could use that mainly for such other purposes, including blackmailing. So yet it's not confirmed, but if it's true that the government was actually spying over its journalists, opposition leaders, and several known personalities with quite a good public influence that they can. So it's a troubling thing, because the governments, they have already a lot of the resources, open the dispensation to keep an eye over its public, all those who try to threaten or try to speak against the government. And so now if they are using such spyware, even the common public needs to be prepared, because if they are spying for the opposition leaders, for journalists, the next turn is ours. Even we don't know that when any action of ours might got in the eyes of the government, and they may take any actions against him. If those are journalists or those who are known personalities, they have a clout, they have something, so they can speak, their voices could be heard. But even in our case, if we got assaulted, if common public is got threatened by such things, there's nothing to protect us. We don't have a voice even. So we need to think about that. And if it's true that the governments were involved, it's just serious, and we must take it quite much more seriously than currently it's been discussing all around, like opposition and others are making foul of it. But we need to think about it, that such actions, if it is done by the government or if it has been done by anyone else, it needs to be stopped at the moment.